Well, I went to city schools in Memphis, Tennessee, in the elementary grades and middle school, and then I moved out to a country school out in the county. And I'm not so sure that it matters what school you went to, but the teachers matter. And of course, your attitude about school makes a lot of difference too. Well, they always pushed me to excel, and I didn't always appreciate that. and they pushed me into careers that were not right for me. Neither one of them had gone to college, and neither one had any appreciation for science, so science never came up in our house. My father always wanted me to be my own boss and make lots of money and, you know, have lots of success and that sort of thing. When I was in elementary school, I hated school. And in fact, in the 4th grade, I think all my grades were D, D dog. and I didn't get interested in school until the 7th grade. About that time, my hormones started to churn, as they're wont to do at that age, and my teacher was a new graduate who was very attractive. And so I was trying to impress her by being the best student in the class. Then in the 8th grade, my teacher was older, but she was also attractive, and so I was trying to impress her. By the time I got to the 9th grade, I realized that I could start impressing me by excelling in school. And so I started trying to do well from my own standard, not to make an impression on other people. Well, you can't be stupid, but I think the most important thing is to be curious. The most important thing for scientists is to be curious and creative. You know, you have to think up hypotheses and experimental designs to test these hypotheses, and that is a creative act. And being able to score well on IQ tests is not the same thing. Well, when I was in high school, I majored in the vocational ag program because I was not interested in science. And my vo ag teacher had a big influence on my life, mostly in terms of having goals and high standards and trying to achieve these goals. But I didn't get interested in science for a long time. Although I should have known, when I went to the University of Tennessee, I remember I had a botany class. And the professor there kept pestering me to forget about going to veterinary school, and we wanted me to become a scientist. And it was because I got interested in botany and asked lots of questions. And, you know, although that wasn't my primary area of interest, he realized that, you know, I was the kind of person that ought to go into science. But I didn't realize that. And I didn't realize it until after I graduated from veterinary school and was in the Air Force. And it was in Enid, Oklahoma, where I had lots of spare time. And I spent that spare time reading medical journals in the hospital library. And I realized that this stuff was kind of interesting and that I had a good educational background and I understood what I was reading. And one day it dawned on me that, hey, I can do this too, and maybe better than some of these clowns. So that's when I really got interested in science. I'm interested in the brain, how the brain works, and I've studied it at all levels, from membranes to the human mind, and it's been a lot of fun. Well, I'm involved in this peer program. I wrote most of the materials for the biology curriculum on cells and organ systems and ecosystems, and they're on our website, peer.tamu.edu. And I'm also the science author for our integrated curriculum, which is also accessed through that site. Well, I used to play tennis before my knees gave out, and I jogged a lot, which is why my knees gave out. So now I mostly scuba dive, and I read a lot. Now, when I was a kid, I was not interested in reading, but now I read all the time. I guess two things. In the first area, I would say to make yourself get interested in everything you have to do. That way it becomes fun instead of boring chores. And the second thing is to, in terms of career choices, do what you love to do, as long as you're good at it and it helps people.